To our daily show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com. Oh, look who I found. Happy birthday, Jay Lipe. How are we doing, man?
Man, thank you very much. I'm doing great.
Well, we were talking a couple weeks ago. We met at the chili cook-off, which I thought would turned out fantastic.
I ate a lot of chili.
You should have seen my dad. It was like Christmas, no pun intended. Every station a couple of times, you know.
And it was the white chicken chili in the back corner. That was the one.
It was, and it was a hidden gem.
It was a totally hidden gem. And nobody was going to it, so I just kept on going and going. And they had the cornbread, too.
And it was good cornbread.
It was the great cornbread.
No one talks about how the secret to cornbread.
You know, speaking of good.
Oh, my God. I had one of those before the show started.
You get a second one.
Thank you. That's why I was so happy.
My girlfriend, Danielle, she made some muffins, and they're to die for.
They are. Thank you, Danielle. These, seriously, I'm not a muffin guy. I was telling Jay, these are amazing.
She got me a beautiful necklace today, too, and pictures of us hanging out this summer.
That's really
cool.
Thank
you, babe. Appreciate it.
Really cool.
Yeah,
well,
man.
When we were talking, you brought up this book that you were working on, and I thought this is really incredible because so many people, and just my experience with the business and pro wrestling, not a lot of people hold themselves accountable, and they're stuck in that kind of, plateau of, I call it purgatory, where you're kind of just there,
Every one of us in this life, we have these preconceived notions of what we're supposed to do. And we've been taught at a young age that success is owning everything. It's having the best, and it's not, So I wanted to write a book to help someone that's actually on the bottom. And 30 years ago in college, I actually created the concept for this book, and I wanted to call it the Freshman Bible, and just tell people, hey, if you're going to take a class, read the book 3 months before, go into your class prepared.
Yeah.
But after hanging out with the kids at the Alton Catholic Children's Home this summer, which I hang out with them all the time, the conversations I heard were not right. The things coming out of their mouth was just not prudent. It wasn't powerful, and it wasn't uplifting. So I took off up to Michigan, and I wrote this book.
What were some of the things you heard, if it's okay?
Well, I mean, no, it's not really okay.
Yeah.
It was defeated mindsets. It was things I don't want to repeat. It's just boys being boys. And it got to be a point I realized they are not being taught. In fact, the world's not teaching anything to these kids anymore to help them grow. When I was a kid, our street, there wasn't a leaf on it because 4 or 5 different groups of kids was fighting to rake those leaves.
Yeah.
I live on one of the nicest streets in Godfrey, and those leaves are on the front yards, half of those yards right now. And you never see anyone work like that we used to. And so I don't blame the children. I've been going to children's homes for 17 years, going on my 17th year, and it's never the kid's fault.
I think it starts at home.
It starts at home, and it starts before home. So it's not just home, but it's the government we have, it's the houses we live in, it's the life we live, it's the school systems what we're being taught, and it's not the teacher's fault, it's not the administration's fault. It is what is being inundated from the top down. And they don't teach you how to grab a broom and use it. They don't teach you to wake up and clean the bathroom without somebody having to tell you to do it, to save your money, to brush your teeth, just basic life principles. So I came back and I wrote the book. And the great thing about this book is it's not perfect, because neither am I. These are things that I've gone through, I go through, and I'll still go through. But it's still addressing the elephants in the room that we just kind of seem to sweep under.
Well, I like this just from you saying that, hey, this book's not perfect, neither am I, because so many times you get this pompous ass that writes this book, and here's my gospel, this is how you should abide by your life, and they don't take into account that, hey, I'm a human too, and I think that's really powerful in this.
And the great thing is that this is a workbook. You have to answer questions. You have to answer hard-pressed questions and write them down. The publisher was like, Jay, let's make this an ebook. No, this is a hard copy. You have to write in it. You have to put your name in it. You have to rip pages out of this thing because it has to be hands-on, because so many things in life today are not.
You're 100%. I think there's so much more power in the pen than there is typing. Whether even if it was an ebook and you had to do those things, it's not the same.
And what the great thing about this is the power's in the pen, but let's back it up. The power is in the tongue, because it's basically your tongue is either a sword and it's a weapon for good or good for evil. I woke up this morning and I had the most crappiest thought. I'm going to be honest. And listen, if there's anybody here that can tell me that you have not had thoughts all day long that come to your head, but you don't speak some of your thoughts.
Yep.
You got to filter them through. And that's where it's something, you know, like our president, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go political, but he's a puppet. And he's had so many hands up his butt that his mouthpiece is broken. but we're on Riverbender, so I can say that.
Well, you are. And hell,
Well, be honest. But simple as this is, when we get to a point, we have to let our words direct the powerful direction and let the thoughts catch up to the words.
Well, and that's a good point, regardless of where you stand politically.
I know.
No. It's a great point, because we're in a society now where people think, no, the government's got your back. They're going to provide us all these things. And let's say, hell, I don't have to worry about a job for 6 months. They're going to give me some money to live. I think those things add up to not being a helping hand. It turns into that's me. And I don't know if that's what you experience in some of this.
It definitely is. It's, you have to make your own path in life. But what's important is to back up. Sometimes a leap of faith is taking a step back.
100%.
And so one of my chapters, purpose versus money. Because
that's huge.
Is your purpose money? Because it'll fail you. I tried it one time. Oh, it failed big time.
Well, and on top of that, too, I'm noticing just with kids that are my age that everyone I talk to are losing the communication skills because they're so focused on being, whoever their influencer is in their life, whether it's like Cuban or any of these billionaires. No, I'm business. You're going to lose out on a lot in life if that's what you're focused on.
And the great thing is that people only focus on what they want to see.
Yep.
So you can have a mentor. But that mentor is also going to teach you lessons, because nobody in this world's perfect.
Yep.
And so, that's why a lot of relationships fail. They get together with somebody and then they meet someone else and they see a 20% in that person they're not getting from who they're with.
Yep.
But then when they get with the next person, that they just lost the 80%. So we have to see a mentor for who he is and what they're doing, or who she is and what she's doing. I am not perfect. I am the most unperfect person to run a nonprofit that helps children and elderly and those that are less fortunate. But I do believe in a God, and I believe that he uses us foolish things to confound the wise. Mm-hmm. Our organization, in the 17 years I'm doing this, I've never once taken a paycheck. If anything, I match all donations with my time, effort, and resources.
Wow.
And will it get to a level that we could grow like that? Probably, but what's interesting is that it's all to a point that I never wanted to outgrow the mission. To outgrow the purpose.
Well, and that's because to me, and it happens all the time, where you see somebody that has a great idea, a great mission, a great motive to do something, and then within a year and a half, it all starts to filter all down because the money overtakes it, or there's so many business opportunities that you lose sight of what you really are doing with this.
When the money outlasts the mission, that's when I walked away. It happened, and I went to Memphis this year to go to a children's hospital, and I came in with my donation. And I realized at this home now, this donation of mine is not going to make a dent. So I walked away and I walked into another children's hospital, and they needed it, and they were so grateful for it. So in life, it's important. Make sure that you always understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. The why is important. My why is my daughter Samantha, my girlfriend Danielle, my mom and my dad, my family, my name, my friends, my God. That's my why. And then when you do what I do, and when I visit these children's home, I have never once on any of these mission trips we've been on, if it's your first time going, you cry.
Yeah.
When you see children where they got crap on the walls in the bathrooms, these kids, not only were they molested by their families, or they were beat up, or there's drugs, or all these things that the worst experience you could think of. Now they're in a place where now they have to learn the hierarchy of who's the toughest kid and the mental concepts thereof. Yep. And then the counselors are great. I have the heart that goes into this. No one does this job for money. And you do it because it's passion. And I never did this to think or create something bigger than yourself. It never started that way. It was a single father who loved his daughter, who could never provide her a mother, and that it bothered me. So I picked her up, and we got some gifts one year, and I told her I can't give her a mom. I said, Sammy, you're 6 years old. I can't give you a mom. And she said, Daddy, when I was 4, I needed a mom. I'm 6. I don't need one now.
Oh, wow.
So God takes the painful things in our life and he uses them to help us. So that's year one. I never thought, I'm going to make something great out of this.
Right.
But what happened is we went to the children's home here, and my daughter said, Daddy, can we give these presents away? And that was year one. And then year two, there was place here called Muddy Pub, and so I used to pack that place with Ancient Chinese Secret, and we had these big festivals. So I raised $400, and
Chris Kydell was running
Chris
that.
Kydell. So we ended up taking the kids to the buffet in town, and then it just started growing. And every year now I'm starting new things are given, and we go on tours. And I believe on the website I've listed 16 of the orphanages we've worked with. I believe there's 6 or 7 children's hospitals, and I'm still working on putting. Wow. Yeah, isn't that neat? And then and if you look at the individual child, I just put that up yesterday. There is countless stories of just hearts being touched everywhere.
Well, and folks, right now, if you go to somethingbiggerthanyourself, allnospaces.org, you'll be able to follow along with us at home. Can we take a pause here real quick,
Sure,
and we'll come back?
Most definitely.
9:32 is the time on this 5th day of December. A quick break. We'll come right back with more of this great conversation after this.
Life's better when you're under our roof. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto and home coverage at the right price. Also, you can enjoy the dreams you've worked so hard to achieve. American Family Insurance.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Whizzing like a shooting star. Run, run, Rudolph. Santa meant to make it in town. Santa, make him hurry. Tell him he can take the freeway down. Run, run, Rudolph. Reeling like a merry-go-round.
9:34. That is the time on this Tuesday morning. Welcome back, Jay Lipe in studio. Something bigger than yourself. What's next, Class 101? Now, this is where on the first page, don't you have a contract?
Yes, what I do is it says, please read this thoroughly before signing your name. Never sign your name to any contract before reading all the fine print. Lesson number 1. And I'm not asking him to believe everything that I'm saying. What I'm saying is that just go through the book. Get to fruition, get to the end, and pull some nuggets out that you can use. Because if you can go through this entire lesson of my life and you can't learn one thing that I did wrong, maybe I'm not the problem.
You're right.
And then they sign it, and then actually there's 2 parts to the book, and you sign it when you get done to the first part, and then you sign it when you're ending the second part, and then you come back 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days because you need to retain the information. There's no such thing as a get quick rich or get healed quick book. But what this does is it's going to address the splinters that you put the Band-Aids over. And you're going to remove the Band-Aid, and you're going to cut the hard skin, and you're going to get the thing out and look at it for what it is. And you have to take responsibility for your own actions.
Well, and I think this is a really good point, too, because we're talking about mentors and just a little bit ago. And so many people have mentors in life, some don't. I think it takes a village in anything you do. Different perspectives, different people that you're learning from. And not very often do you have somebody that's to the nose on what needs to be done. It's kind of gotten to the point, let's brush it over. Oh, no, it's okay. Let's worry about your feelings. I think you need to be direct sometimes and hear that and read that. And I think it helps everybody, no matter what they do in life.
One of the quotes on here from my grandpa Kimbrough, he says, when things get rough, remember, it's the rubbing that brings out the shine. So we've got all these coarse things on our body, and we've got to get it off of us. And it's, even the Bible said, as iron sharpens iron, a brother's made for adversity. So us men and women, we need to stand up for the youth, and we need to say what's right, because we're being inundated on social media by everything out there, the different outlets telling you what to believe, and we know it's not right.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned with some of that, whatever they call it.
Right.
I want to get to the root potatoes of why isn't that kid knocking on doors, trying to work, building his resume, reading books, pushing forward, doing well, speaking positive. And if there is something that's a deep root of bitterness or fear, or there's something, the pain, then we need to get in underneath that root and get it alleviated out of them so they can heal and move forward and change the negative mindsets so they can have positive actions.
100% over. 100% over. And as this book's developing, this is what I think's a great component to it, is that you're revising it, or you're going back into it, you're getting the material, because you're going to be out there teaching this to prospective classes, correct?
Exactly. I've been sending this out to different children's homes and orphanages across the country, speaking with the administrative staff and getting them vetting the book and putting it together. And I'm going to definitely work with the Alton Catholic Children's Home as well. And I have the Fredericktown Home coming up, and we have one in Indiana. I believe I'll be in Georgia the end of this week, the beginning of next.
Wow.
And yeah, so we're doing some good things. And like I said, the great thing at the end of this book, if you finally make it to the end, and it's interesting, it says, listen, these are life lessons I still learn. I'm still going over it. I found a mistake in this book, and I'm not going to correct it just so I can finally see if someone else found it too. And there might be more than one. This is not perfection. None of us are perfect. We all face battles daily. And you can go through this entire book and you could study it till its ends. But you might wake up one day and still have a grumpy feeling in the morning because that's life.
Yep.
So we got to shake it loose. You got to get up and you got to keep pushing forward. And that's what this book does. It brings hope to these kids that have none. And if it can help them, it can help you. And what, real quick, is that I have someone, a lady in Florida who read it, touched her heart. A lady here in town, she's 89 years old, touched her heart. A friend of mine who is battling alcoholism, he went in for a 30-day rehab. It can touch the child within. So when you look at it, there's going to be some lessons that you're like, oh, that's easy peasy. I get that one. But then all of a sudden it stops and want to talk about letting go of the past. Oh, ouch.
That's a hard thing to do for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, it's easy to forgive other people. It's easy to forgive God, but it's hard to forgive ourselves.
100%.
And whenever you're with everyone else, I'm here on the radio, guys talking blah, blah, blah. But it's when you get by yourself, when you listen to your own thoughts, you have to command your thoughts in your brain to be subject to the truth. And if your thoughts are negative, you have the power inside to tell those thoughts to be cast out of you and replace them with positive thoughts and then speak positive words.
100%.
That's the way life works.
Well, and that's a great point, too, because, you know, in terms of just life in general, we always see these terrible stories about how somebody with just the breath of life, that any room they walked into, they lit up, and, you know, they go into depression, they have these terrible feelings, because you're right, by the time you get home, there's nobody else there to bounce and deflect.
And so you have to bounce and deflect off yourself.
Yeah.
I am a 100% believer in Jesus Christ. I'm 100% believer in God. So he said he would never leave us or forsake us. So we are never alone. And once you get that in your brain and your mind, that I am not alone in my mind, that there is a God that loves me and he's out there, and he might not speak to you like most people do, but you might see that bird fly by, or the way that the chipmunk or someone comes up to you out of the blue and calls you. That's how he works. And it's communication. So you're never on your own. But when you're by yourself, you're not alone. But you still are supposed to communicate with others as well.
Yeah.
If we're going to look down at somebody, it's to help pull them up. And that's what we need to do. But also there's a time too in this book. It talks about mentors, but it also talks about lessons. Some people come in your life as a mentor, but other will come in as lessons. And some people are both. So
that's interesting.
That's very interesting. Someone that you can see is very successful in one aspect of their life, but you look at another one and they're hidden this or this or that. Or they, you know, hey, this great businessman, but look how he treats his wife.
True.
You know,
100%.
Oh, listen, he really kisses her butt, but he's that guy that always hugs her because he never goes to work and she's paying for everything. So it's both sides of the coin. So you have to look at everything in a way going, all right, I don't want to hit this side of the wall. I don't want to hit that side of the wall. How do I live a life that kind of stays in the middle? And if you ever play golf, it's always the old guy with the small swing that wins.
Right.
You know, you go out there trying to bang the ball, you're going to lose a couple of them out there. So that's simple as what I'm trying to teach.
Yeah.
And this book is focused for the child that has been their life taken from them, and now they have to start over. And this is the no better place to start than the bottom, because you're standing on a rock on this book.
100%. Now, as you're talking to the administrators of these children's homes and these organizations, and when we mean all throughout the country, the answer is all throughout the country.
Sure. Go ahead and pull the list up on, you'll see down there where it says children's homes.
Right here. I mean, I'm looking right now. I mean, just insane. I mean, here's Fredericktown. Here's Catholic Children's Home, Alton, Peoria, Louisville, Kentucky, Round Rock. I used to live near there in Texas when I was training with Dustin Rhodes, a great town. Illinois Baptist Children's Home, Poplar Bluff. It goes on and on. I mean, Poplar Bluff, Peaceful Valley, Ironton, Farmington, Florissant, Murfreesboro, Denver, Colorado, Jackson, Missouri, Macon, Georgia, Mount Vernon. I mean, there's all these places that you're touching. What are their thoughts on this, just the initial feedback?
There's two ways I do it. I either, for instance, I usually contact a home first.
Okay.
And then I will get myself through the gatekeepers, through the secretaries, find out who the administrator is, hit them with an email, hit them on LinkedIn, and then we are now conversations. The website speaks for itself. Once they see that, they're very much interested in what we do. Now, another way I do it is I go in unannounced and uninvited. So that's what I did this year at the, you see the Macon home?
Yeah,
Macon,
right
Georgia.
here, Methodist Home for Children.
So I was traveling around the United States. We were going from hospital to hospital. And I had a guitar that Devin Allman signed 7 years ago. So I had Devin Allman's guitar. So I'm carrying it across America. But I also had a guitar from El Monstero, the Pink Floyd tribute.
Oh, wow.
So I'm carrying these on tour, and I'm going city to city, and I just can't find anybody. So we're in Memphis, we're in New Orleans, we're in Mobile, we're in Tampa, we're in Jacksonville, we're in Savannah. All of a sudden, it hit my heart. I just knew, and I called Macon, and I said, there's a children's home in Macon. Get on the internet, and I found the Methodist Children's Home. And I called them early in the morning and said, we're on our way. And she says, well, we close at 5. I said, I'll be there before 5. So we got in the tour van, and we drove from Savannah and hit Walmart, bought a couple grand worth of toys and footballs and soccer balls and Barbies, and just packed it. We were running around. One of my guys almost fell over pushing the cart. And so we packed everything, and we got right before the home at 4:30 at night. So we came in, and we set up. And I also, 7 years ago, I also had a gentleman call me, and his name was Mark Twain. And I said, hello. And he goes, Mr. Lipe? I said, yes. He goes, this is Mark Twain. And I said, well, Mark, what can I do for you? And he goes, I have some congas I want to give you, sir. I've been watching what you're doing for the kids. And my wife, she made some hats. I want you to give the hats. And I said, well, Mr. Twain, where are you calling me from? He said, Hannibal, Missouri.
No way.
Yeah, wait. And I said, okay, Mr. Twain. I said, tell you what, I live in Alton. Why don't we meet? You know where the Bass Pro is in St. Charles? He goes, yeah. I said, I'll meet you there. So I drove out there, and here he came in a minivan. And this 6'7" giant dressed as Mark Twain and his wife in a little house on the prairie Ingalls girl outfit gets out and gives me one of the nicest set of congas, real top of the line, chewy, meaty, powerful, old school.
Hell yeah.
And then his wife gives me a bunch of hats. So I bring the congas back, and I'm keeping in my home. I don't know where to give them, and I took the hats to an elderly home. And I gave them away at Christmas, and then Bissinger Chocolate gave us a bunch of chocolate, so they get chocolate and hats to the elderly. Actually, my aunt was one of the ones that wore the hat. She got flowers and chocolate. She passed away 4 days later.
Wow.
So what I do is real.
Yep.
So I've got these congas. Those are 7 years old. I've got the guitar from the Allman Brother. That's 7 years old. So we're running. We get to Macon, and we put everything in there. We hand them the congas. We give them the Allman Brother guitar. We give them basketballs, footballs, soccer balls, Monopoly games, board games, trouble games, Uno games. We're throwing piñatas and chocolate. I mean, everything. And we just got this huge table in there. And the ladies at the big home is like, this is amazing. I said, it is. And they were like, you do know that the Allman family live right down the street. And I said, you know what, that is right. Because I met, Devin has a brother named Elijah Blue, and he had a band called the Almond Joys, and my buddy was the keyboard player, and they're my next door neighbors. So I remember jamming with them.
Right
Yeah,
on,
jamming with those
man.
as kids. So I was like, yeah, I remember those guys. So we actually left after, we left the kids, we left the home. I had to pull over because I just had to sit there for a second, just the beauty of what was going on. And so we get in the car, and no one told me what to do, but I drove to the right, I drove to the left, I went down the street, and I pulled into the Allman Brother Mansion. And so they had this huge, big, it was a mushroom on the double gates. So I went there, I'm like, what's going on? This big old dude comes out looking at me and he's like, what's going on? I said, oh, sir, I just gave a guitar away. It was signed by Devin. I'm just really, oh, come on in. So they came in, then they took us all around the Allman Brother Mansion, I'm talking full Monty. I got to see everything. They gave me a 1971 Fillmore East shirt.
Oh, wow.
Pack of rolling papers. I mean, thank you, Allman Brother. So it was cool to partner with them. So next time I go down to Macon, I can contact the Allman family and let them know what we're doing and give stuff to the kids. So you never have any idea how this is going to happen. Now, is all these things like that? No, that was a special one.
Right.
Now, let me tell you one that hurts. I have walked into a home where this little girl had a letter on her wall. So they had prison beds. This is what they had because they don't have much. These kids don't have clothes. There's not much money in giving.
Yeah.
Sure, it can be, but I've done everything on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
I've not taken one paycheck in 16 years. I give to this because that's the right thing to do. I've had to take jobs for corporations that I did not want to be there.
Yeah.
But I did it so I could pay my bills and continue keeping this going. And when I saw this girl and I read this thing on the wall, I've never cried at a home ever, except for one time when I was with one of the girls I took, and it hit me hard because there was a bunch of young girls there and they were getting their hair done, and it just broke my heart. But when this little 6-year-old girl, when I found out what her family did to her, and she was just, it looked like she was almost soulless in her eyes. And there was not a toy or a gift I could give her, a cupcake, anything that was going to change the look in those eyes. And I had to leave there. And then I had to realize, then I went home and then, I started this on Matthew 18:5 in the Bible, and it says, when you do this for a child, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. So then God showed me then Matthew 18:6, 7, 8, and 9. Let me paraphrase that. It states, if anyone messes with any of these kids, he is going to whoop your ass. He said it better put fire over your head than what's going to happen to you if you mess with this child. So that's when God let me know in my heart that I have to get as many gifts I can to a kid. I don't care if they get hit with a water balloon. I want them touched by this organization because that's my way of knowing that I got it to him and he's going to take care of anybody that messes with these kids.
Yeah.
And this is important what we do. And we've grown now to where we work with elderly homes too. We visit, last Christmas, I purchased 700 bouquets of flowers and personally delivered them at 11 elderly homes, hand delivered each one of those bouquet of flowers to a widow or to a woman who was there just staring in the space in a wheelchair. I gave chocolates to everyone because it's the right thing to do. I know I'm talking scripture, but even a foolish man like me can understand this. And in the book of James 1:27, it says, true religion is to visit orphans and the widows. Anything else is a lie. Mm-hmm. It's a lie. If you're not helping children and not helping the elderly, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in this world. Because how do we help them? By living a life of a good example or try to do the best we can. And when we get so self-centered in our own attitudes, we're losing the point. We have to get off our minds and help others. And being a single dad, it was, oh, woe is Jay. Oh, woe, poor Jay was a single dad. Well, let me tell you something. There is no poor Jay anymore. When I go and see these kids and I go to the elderly homes and I'm helping them, it alleviates any bit of that. And it's so amazing. Just in the last 30 days, I've built a board of directors, a real board. Now, wow! I'm going to put this out live. In the state of Illinois, you have to have 3 board members. You got to have 3 to keep it state. I have Beth Gundaker, the Gundaker Realty Group, Jay Lipe, and Jesus Christ as our COO. And I sent it into the state of Illinois, and they sent it back approved. I drove up to Springfield, went through a metal detector, and showed the lady what she did. And she said, honey, you're fine. I showed her the second time, you're fine. Third time, I said, lady. And she read it, and she said, oh. Well, you better go back home and not tell anybody. And I told her this is not how it works. That was a Friday. That next Monday morning on the front page of Alton Telegraph, something bigger than yourself, Jesus Christ is a COO. Then I sent it into the federal government. Why did I do that? Because they have now proven that he is real in the states and courts of America. And if anyone ever tries to say he's not real, I'll take you to court because he's the COO of our organization. Now, since then, and that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It's very ponder on because, well, I don't believe. I said, I don't care. I know what I know. Yeah. Anybody can believe what they want. I'm going what I know.
Right.
And so with that being said, now I've built a board. I've got a board around it. I've got a director now in Denver. Mm-hmm. I have a director in Indiana. I have one in Texas, one in Georgia, one in Florida, one in Illinois. And then I'm picking up all the leftovers in the different other states and teaching them what I know. And then they can do what they do for them. And everyone has a different why. One's a single father. One was an orphan. His mother died when he was 5 years old. He had to go to an orphanage. He had to fight his way to the success he's at. He's my vice president of major gifts. I have another gentleman, phenomenal musician. He's got so much heart. He just needed direction. And now he's got direction to help kids. And so that's all this is about. It touches anyone that's involved. And it's got a good and a bad side. I've had people come in every year, Jay, I want to do this, and that, and I never hear from them. And then I've had someone else that I never hear from, and all of a sudden, that's exactly what we needed. Yep. So something bigger than yourself is pretty, it's, you know, I was a boxer and a wrestler growing up, you know, I mean, it is what it is, but it does touch the heart. It is real. The people in it, we're real. We're not perfect. There's nothing perfect about anything except for when it gets to the child and to the elderly and they get the gift.
Well, what I think's incredible too about this is it's not forced. I mean, this is all up to the individual. If they want to buy into this, if they want to really, you know, take a look at it, that's their prerogative. You aren't going to beat them over the head with that book. And I think that's important because you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped at that point. And that's just me.
Exactly. And even before the contract, it lets you know if you're not going to take it seriously, give it to someone else. Right. You know, because I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I'm not perfect, and you're going to find imperfections. But the great thing is you'll find imperfections in me, but you're also going to find them in yourself. 100%. And it's just, you have to face your fears. I mean, here, let me read this. We can come up with every reason why we cannot accomplish our goals and literally think ourselves into defeat. Or we can think ourselves into victory, because the choice is up to you. I have told myself on many occasions there's not enough money to accomplish what I wanted to do, or I'm not smart enough to get a great job, or nobody's going to agree with the goals I'm trying to accomplish. But do you know how horrible I felt after believing all those lies? I felt really bad. And it always takes me a couple days to get past wrong ways of thinking. So let me help you get through what I've learned on my own trials and errors, so you don't have to go through all these wrongful mindsets like I did. I'm going to save you from years of struggle by just explaining this one simple truth. Fear is a lie.
I think that's how we end. I mean, to me, that's how we wrap up this conversation, Jay. For more information, because I couldn't agree with you more, somethingbiggerthanyourself.org. If people want to be involved with this, if they go, hey, I really think I can be a part of something, I want to be a part of this, what's the best way to do it?
So the best way, I dare you to call me. My cell phone is 618-567-6785. Our next event is we're having December 20th. I rented out Alton Bull Haven. Okay. Last year when we rented it out, we just gave everybody the lanes and everybody had a good time. I'm not renting out all the lanes. I want to fill it with kids this time. Yeah. So I'm only letting half the lanes get rented, and all the rest I'm bringing to the Alton Boys and Girls Club and to the Alton Catholic Children's Home. So if you want to be a part of that, get a hold of me. If you want to make a pie and bring it out for the kids, great. You want to drop off a toy, fantastic. If you don't have money to give and you have your time, come on out. I need somebody to help with the bands. Whatever you want to do and be a part of it, this is 100% true. It will touch your heart.
100% over. 100% over. Jay, I told you we'd be talking longer than 30 minutes, and we did, because this is a fantastic conversation. I really believe in this book. Thank you so much for your time.
And Joe Biden, I'm sorry, but not really.
Oh, my God.
I had to hit that one last time.
And the views expressed in this program, no.
Not necessarily with RiverBender.com, but definitely of Jay Lipe.
Jay, you're the best, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much for your time. 9:54, we'll take a very brief break. We'll come back, wrap up the hour, go into top of the hour news right after this on the Heart of the 618.